Do a very quick live stream tutorial today of how to route your drum kit so you can mix it easier. So forgive me if this is a long one. I figured I would just do a live stream, otherwise I would never end up doing an actual tutorial because I would obsess over every little detail. So I have a friend who was wondering how to do this, so I figured I'd show you guys all step by step. So this is a completely blank project file. So we're doing it from scratch right now. So first and foremost, what you're going to need is a MIDI file. Obviously, I already have one in here. So what I like to do is I name my first track Drum Bus. So that's your first and foremost track. And then obviously you need a drum plugin. So we are going to use Contact. Get that in there. So once you have Contact open, in my case, I am using the Invasion kit. I know that Contact really sucks, so this is like the most complicated way to do this, unfortunately, because I don't like Contact either. I see some of you guys don't like this, but if you're using Contact, this is the way you do this. We'll go through another example after this that doesn't use Contact because it is way easier, but I really like Get Good Drums Invasion, so that's what we're going to use. Okay, anyway, so once you load up the plugin, basically, if you play your MIDI file, it's going to play everything on one track, like so. Or not. How do you do this again? Oh god. I forgot fucking Contact has this stupid Omni thing. Where is that? I'm blind as hell. 1 second. Where is it? Where is the Omni button? Oh, info. Okay. So make sure you're also on Omni. Note to all of you. Otherwise it won't do anything. Now it should work. There we go. So if you play drums, it'll play everything in one track. But if you're mixing at all, obviously you don't want that because it's going to be way harder to mix. Like, I mean, I know Get Good Drums kind of has options if you go through this, but it takes way longer in my opinion. So instead of doing that, we're going to do a one-time setup, and you will save this and open this every single time so you never have to do it again. So what you're going to do is you open the FX track on your drum bus, and then you right-click Contact, and you click Build Multi-Channel Routing for Output of Selected Effects, and that's going to pop up with some thing telling you it's going to make like 64 tracks, which is ridiculous. We're not going to use all 64, but for the sake of this video, let's go ahead and click Yes. So now you'll see it's going to make a shit ton of tracks that have nothing, no information, but oops, if we still click play, you're going to notice it's now just routing all of the sound to KTST1. Obviously, we don't want that either. So now is the tedious part. What you're going to do is you're going to go through Get Good Drums in Contact one by one. And you can see on the bottom here, there's all these outputs saying like ST1, ST2, ST3, blah, blah, blah. And as you can see, these new tracks that it made are also called ST1, ST2. So obviously, whatever you have outputting to each of these is now also outputting to over here, if that makes any sense. So now you'll notice if you go from the full kit menu, go to the kick menu, for example, and you can see on the bottom here, it says kick sum, sub kick, kick trig, overheads, room close, and room far. And you can notice that under each of these, it says default. So we're going to change that. So first and foremost, for kick sum, let's go ST1. For sub kick, let's go ST2, and kick trig, we'll go ST3. So now you'll notice if we click play, whenever there's a kick drum hit, it's going to go to 1, 2, and 3, and it'll be like this. See? So now you can see we're sort of getting somewhere. So now, you know, different sounds are going to different outputs, which is good. Last but not least, we are also going to put the overheads, I think, let's go 15. Room close, let's do 16. And room far will go 17. So now, again, if we click play, you'll notice, again, on 15, 16, and 17, there's some stuff happening. So now if we solo out 2 and 3, now it's only going to be your kick drum, of course. So hopefully that's making sense so far. So essentially we're going to go through every single part of the kit and do this. Also, while you're doing this, it would be a great idea, which I'm going to do right now, to rename these as you go. So we're going to rename ST1 to kick some. ST2 is going to be sub kick. And then ST3 is going to be kick trig. And then 15 is going to be overheads. 16 is going to be room close. And 17 is going to be room far. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. We're going to do the exact same thing. Switch over to the snare menu. Once again, everything is set to default. That is no good. Overheads, let's go 15. Room close. 16, room far. 17. And now since we've already used up 1, 2, and 3 for the kick, we're going to use, I guess, 4, 5, and 6 for the snare. So snare top will be 4. Oops, that's 6, not 4. 4, 5, 6. And then same thing. This is now going to be called snare top, snare bottom, BTM, and snare trig. And again, just double check your work as you're going. Makes sense? We're going to keep going. You can also obviously make this easier on yourself if you don't care about having this many outputs. You could technically just route all 3 parts of the snare, so snare top, bottom, and trigger. You could, if you don't want to fuck around with mixing, you could just route those all to 1. So those could all just be 4 if you don't want to mix the 3 individual parts of the snare, if that makes sense. That's completely up to you, depending how crazy you want to get with your mix. Let's go to toms. So exact same thing. We're going to go tom. Oh yeah, for this one, I do it a little differently. So instead of having every single tom output to a different output, I actually group them in sets of 2 because I think that this has 6 toms, which is quite a lot. So instead of having, toms go to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 or whatever, I just have the first 2 toms go to 7, second 2 toms, 8, and then the last pair of toms goes to 9. So I do it in pairs. You get what I'm trying to say. I don't need to explain it anymore. So we got 7 for rack toms, and then for rack tom 3 and 4 and floor tom 1, we're gonna do 8 and 8, and then 9 and 9, and then again overheads 15, room 16, room far 17. Okay, so now we're gonna rename this to rack toms. Gonna name the mid one to mid toms, and number 9 is low toms. So I just made those names up, but you get the point. Last but not least, we go to cymbals. So what do we do here? So this one, the hi-hats for some reason are always routed to a different channel, I guess because they sound like way different than any other cymbal. I don't really know the technical reason why this is, but I'm just gonna roll with it. So we're gonna go hats to 10 and X hats to 10 as well. And then we're going to go ride is going to be 11 and FX cymbals are going to be 12. Yeah, let's just roll with that. So 10 will now be hats. 11 will be ride bell, I guess. And then 12 will be FX cymbals, which would be like your weird little splashes and shit like that. Okay, and then last but not least, of course, we want the overheads to be 15, room to be 16, and room far to be 17. So that should be correct. So it looks like we actually ended up skipping 13 and 14, but that's okay. I just wanted to overestimate how many I would actually need rather than underestimating it. So that should be working now. So we can just double check again if we go to the full kit. Let's make sure cymbals are going to the FX cymbals for like the China cymbals, which is good. Same with like the little splashes and shit. I think, which one's the ride? No, not that one. Okay, yeah, the ride is going to its own channel. Cool, so yeah, we're all good. So 13 and 14 are just unused, but now if you want to double check, we can go through the kit one by one. So if we want to check the 3 kick tracks, that's working. And I want to check the snare tracks. Cool. And you get the point. I'm not going to double check it because I'm pretty confident I did it properly, but if you want to double check, that's how you do it. I'm just going to go ahead and delete 13 and 14 because I'm not using them. And then as I said earlier, this makes like 64 tracks for whatever reason, so we don't need any of those. Just go ahead and delete all of them. And now we have a concise layout of our drum kit. Hopefully this is making sense so far to you guys. I haven't really been checking the comments. I'm sorry because I plan on leaving this video up for anyone that wants to see it. Oh, Justice, thanks for the super chat. He says, what slaps harder than Bana in Carcosa? No ting. Thank you, Justice. I appreciate that. Okay, moving back to this. So the second thing that I like to do is I like to do things called buses. I'm pretty sure every producer ever does this, obviously. So we are just going to go ahead and go track, insert new track, and we're going to call this kick bus. And what we are going to do is take all 3 kick tracks and drag them up so that they do this. And now if we click solo on the bus of the kicks, it's going to show you only the kicks, or if we want to mute the kicks for some reason, you know, so on and so forth. And this is just an easier way to kind of like control the overall mix of your kick drum once you're done mixing it. And we're going to do the exact same thing for the snare. So again, track, insert new track, name it snare bus, and then snare top, bottom, and trigger. Grab all of them, drag them in there, and same thing. You get the point. Yeah, and then you can kind of go from there. I would also make one for the toms and probably the overheads, or sorry, not the overheads, but the room maybe, or maybe like the overall cymbals. But that's kind of up to you and how you want to mix your drums. But this is kind of like your base starting point of what you want it to look like before you start mixing, because it'll make your life so much easier rather than fucking around in like your actual plugin, because that's always way harder in my opinion. I think that's pretty much it for this. Let's see if there's any questions. Where can I find a recording of this stream later? So you can find it on my channel. I'm not going to be deleting the stream, so it'll just be available as a normal video as soon as the stream ends. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And then obviously, like, again, if you want to actually start mixing, so you would like, you know, go into your kick drum and start adding stuff that you want to your kick. I think I have like a preset, yeah, kick. So like, for example, if you wanted to add like a compressor and EQ, now these 2 effects, since they're on the bus, affect all 3 parts of the kick. You know, you get the point. Obviously, you can do whatever you want here. So if we wanted to keep it really easy, there's a plugin called Easy Mix somewhere. And you could just go like kick, and then this has a bunch of presets. We could go like kick metal 1, and now that sounds like that. So you get the point. Again, if you apply anything to the bus, it will apply to all tracks within that bus. I'm going to do this one more time for you guys, so I'm just going to start another new project, and we're going to use Not Contact. We're going to use an easier plugin to use called Mjolnir. So this is 195. Sorry, let me just grab this, file, new, close. Okay, so we're going to start again. Copy this and make this 195. Okay, so we're going to start again. This one is, we're going to do the exact same thing, but not use contact. So if you have a plugin that doesn't require contact, it's going to be like this, for example. So this is Mjolnir Drums by Solemn Tones. Shout out to Solemn Tones. They make some great stuff as well. So, you know, looks similar to what we were seeing in Get Good Drums. But in my opinion, this is actually way easier. So same thing, once you have the FX track open, you right-click the effects, and you go Build Multi-Channel Routing for output of selected effects. And it's going to say whatever that says. You click Yes. And then in the case of this, it's very easy because there's already a routing button. And in this plugin, it's been a little while since I've done this, but I'm pretty sure... oh yeah, so 12. There's actually a preset where you can route it to 12 outputs. So you just click that, and that will already basically do everything you need. So now you can see the kick is output 1, snare is output 2, tom is output 3, other tom is output 4, low tom is output 5, and so on and so forth. So way easier than Kontakt for sure. So if that first one looked overwhelming to you, other plugins are much easier. I'm not a huge fan of Kontakt, but Get Good Drums sounds really good. I personally like to blend these two things, so I guess I'll show you guys like what it looks like in the context of a full mix once I finish all the stuff. Where is it? Let me just open this up. Hey, what's up, Matthew? How's it going, man? All right, this is just loading up. So this is kind of what it would sound like in the context of a full mix once you actually do all the things. So in my case, like I said, I actually like to layer Mjolnir and Get Good Drums. So once it's all mixed, my drums sound like this. Yeah, so sounds pretty good to me. Again, in my case, I'm only using the snare and snare and kick from Mjolnir, which is, so it's just basically adding like an extra layer. So if let's take a listen to just the snare and tom layered. So this is Get Good Drums by itself, and then both. So basically, Mjolnir, Jesus Christ, has just like way more reverb to it, which I actually like a lot, and it's just like a easier way to get a ton of reverb on the snare without having to do a bunch of extra steps. So I just combine the two. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully this tutorial was useful. I have no idea how many people actually care about this or want to know, so I don't expect this to get many views. But hopefully it was helpful. If it was, share this video around to your friends who might be having trouble setting up their mix. And yeah, if you guys liked this kind of thing, let me know, and maybe I'll do more stuff like this in the future. But for now, that's all. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later.